Hello, healers and health seekers. It's me, E. Choda, healing with medical medium information for over 3.5 years now. I'm healing from diagnoses of mast cell activation disorder, dysautonomia POTS. I've healed from that. Migraines, hypothyroid, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm not laughing because it was funny that I had them. I'm laughing because I'm trying to remember all of the things that I've been diagnosed with, but it's like a page of diagnoses, so it's a lot. Anyway, links are in the description box below. Multiple chemical sensitivity, that's another one. I'm here today to make a video about this is kind of like, this is about my healing journey, but I guess it could apply to others as well. I don't know. But this is about my body and me and what's been going on. And it's not a What's Up Wednesday, but what it is I'm going to talk about my great fat experiment and how that went and what I did. Okay, so I am mostly fat-free all the time. And I have been for, I don't know, a year or so. I don't even know how long at this point. Yeah, I don't know how long. I didn't really count, but I maybe should have. I'm terrible at keeping track of things like this. But anyway, let's just call it a year at least. I don't know, several months, whatever. Was fat-free for a really long time. My body seemed to like that. It was going really well. Got in this stressful situation. I kind of started letting a little bit of fat in. And here is what I know about myself. I am what I like to call a slippery slope person. So for me, I have found in my experiment over the years with my own body and myself that what works the best for me is to have a more strict, specific, this is okay and this is not okay kind of thing. And having gray areas where it's like, well, sometimes this is okay, doesn't work for me. It doesn't work because sometimes turns into, well, I had it yesterday, I can have it again today. And then that just kind of, it's a slippery slope, and then I'm eating it every day. So what really works best for me and what I feel best with and what I like is to just be like, nope, that's not a food for me. And yes, this is a food for me. And that kind of makes it okay. But saying like, well, I'll just do this and see if today, like, I'll just have it this time and, maybe once a month or something, that doesn't work out for me. So I know this about myself. And what I did was I said, okay, let's see how I do with a little bit of fat. Now remember, completely fat-free. So when I say a little bit of fat, I mean like under 10%. Like, it was really a little bit. So, quarter of avocado, half avocado a day, or a dressing that had a little bit of cashews in it, or tahini or something like that. Now, cashews are just an issue for me every single time I eat them. And I can have them in very, very small amounts, like a little bit in a dressing. Like, say I make a whole batch of dressing and there's like a tablespoon of cashews. It's got to be a small amount. And if I eat like larger amounts of cashews, it messes up my digestion. It just does stuff to me. I've just never been very good with cashews. I love them though. They taste good, but my body's like, nah, not for you, hun. And I get it. I don't know why I'm sounding stuffed up right now. There are certain parts of the RV that if I go in, I get a little more stuffy, which is concerning. Trying not to think about it too much. Okay, so we did this fat experiment, and mostly I was having this dressing. I'll tell you what is delicious. It's kind of like a sour dressing, and I was having it with my beet salad. I was having salads with cooked beets and then just obviously a salad around it. And then I would make this dressing of lemon juice and cashews and garlic. It was delicious. It tasted kind of like sour cream. And with the beets, it just was like such an incredible compliment for it. And it tasted so good. And I would eat it, like I ate it every day for a while. And not a lot of cashews. It's like just a little bit of cashews, but, and I'd put like a little bit of cashews in like a big batch that would make like, I don't know, a week's worth of salads. So really wasn't a lot of cashews. Like I said, under 10% fat. And my body was like, yeah, no, this is not. Here's what happened. So I started eating the fat and I was letting it in every day, but still keeping it under 10%. It was super low fat. And at first I was like feeling okay. And I was like, oh wow, I can handle this now. And I was feeling okay. And then I'm chugging along and I was like, this is all right. But then cumulative effects started happening. And I started noticing that my skin was like, I hate you. And not I hate you, but what it was my battery died. Had to change it. Okay. So I started noticing that I was getting some symptoms, and what was happening was my skin, my liver was trying to push out the extra toxins through my skin. It was getting progressively worse. And at the same time, my digestion was getting progressively worse. And so there was a lot of gurgling going on in my belly and a lot of very inconsistent movements, bowel movements, just all over the place. And I was just noticing, and a little bit more pain in my body, a little more inflammation and stuff like that. Now, obviously, I've got all this adrenaline going too, but probably not the best time to do a fat experiment. So I had sort of realized this stuff was happening, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop. And then Thanksgiving happened. So what we decided to make for our Thanksgiving dinner is I made the medical medium sweet potato pizza crust. And I kind of did a mix of sweet potato and regular potato, but I followed his recipe, but I just added regular potato to it. And we made some pizzas, and I did not put extra fat on my pizza. I just put a bunch of veggies on mine, and I was totally happy. And our homemade marinara sauce. That was great. But I also made, for my son's enjoyment, my son and my husband to enjoy, I made this Reclaimers of Health lemon cake, which I'll put links to both of these recipes below, because this lemon cake, if you can have almond flour, if it's okay for you, this lemon cake was off the chain. It was so good. And when I read the recipe, I'm like, oh, this has spices in it. And sometimes my son doesn't like spiced cakes. So I made one of the spiced cakes, and I made another one of just the same recipe, but just without the spices. I do have to say that without the spices, it was just next level. It was so good. It was so lemony and so delicious. But the spice cake was also really good. And they were actually both like pretty. No. All right, well, I had to switch the battery and my camera died. And I was right in the middle of talking. So I switched to my phone, which is a lot less forgiving. Where was I? So the lemon cake. So the lemon cake was incredible. And, oh, I forgot to say that it has this frosting. That's this wild blueberry coconut cream frosting. So there's the fat of the almond cake, and then there's the fat of the coconut cream used in the frosting, which, because we don't have a proper mixer in here in the RV, you hear Muffin snoring. Anyway, so we don't have a proper mixer in the RV, so it kind of turned into more of a sauce, but it was such a delicious sauce, it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. So I wasn't going to have the cake because I was like, no, I need to get to fat-free. But it had only been like a day or two since I had been fat-free again, and I was like, I don't know. Sometimes you just rationalize things in your head, and you're like, well, it's only been like a day. I guess I could just have this one thing. And that's what I did. I had that one thing. Honestly, I'm gonna embarrass myself, and I'm gonna show you, well, being seen on my camera phone kind of was embarrassing anyway, but I'm going to embarrass myself a lot and show you the pictures of my skin. after I ate that cake. I took pictures because I was like, oh my gosh, this is bad. So I'm now showing pictures. This is what happened to my skin when I ate that cake. It turned into this. It was so bad. It was so bad. And it's actually worse than it looks in the picture, to be honest. Worse than it looks in the picture because my phone has this filter on it that kind of softens a little bit. I don't know why it does that, but it does do that. But so, yeah, my skin looked way worse than this. I'm still healing from it, as you can see. Like, I'm still trying to get it back. So I saw that and I was like, okay, seriously, I can't do this. And so that was the only, I didn't keep having it. And then I said, okay, that's it. I can't keep doing this to myself. I have to listen to my body and do what it wants and go fat-free again. So I have been. Medical medium tells us that sweet potatoes are really good for absorbing stress. Like, one of the things he says is if you're going to see like a horror movie or some kind of event or something that you know is going to be stressful, to eat a bunch of sweet potatoes right beforehand because they absorb the stress and help get it out of your body. So it's interesting because usually I like sweet potatoes, but I don't crave them, and I honestly don't eat them very often. But lately, I have been eating them every single day, and it started kind of intentionally, like, I know I should be eating sweet potatoes because this is important, but then, so I had bought a bunch because I was going to make this soup, and I did make this soup, but I had bought way too many more than I needed, and I ended up eating all of those and buying more, and because it's like once I got them in me, it's like my body was just like, more of this please, and I could not stop eating sweet potatoes. I've been eating sweet potatoes every day, almost to the point of like I only want to eat sweet potatoes. Like there has been more than one day recently where I've done my morning, you know, my lemon water, my celery juice, my heavy metal detox smoothie, and then I just want sweet potatoes, and for the rest of the day I eat sweet potatoes. And then at night I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't get my greens in, and so I'll have a smoothie with like half of my greens in it, because I'm trying to eat a pound of greens a day, and I will not say that I've been successful, but usually almost every day at least I get a half a pound in. So, well, more than that I guess, because I'm not even thinking about the greens that I get in the heavy metal detox smoothie. I'm only thinking about other greens. Anyway, but right now I'm just listening to what my body wants. My body wants sweet potatoes, and I get it because it does absorb the stress, and it's like a great comfort food, and they're fat-free, so that's great. Yeah, so ideally I do my morning, and then I would have a big salad, and then I would have my adrenal snacks of apples and celery and dates, or I would have like the Medical Medium Liver Rescue applesauce, which is basically the same thing but just blended. I love eating the adrenal snacks that way. Yeah, then I might have like spinach soup for dinner, and then I might have another smoothie after that. The smoothie that I usually drink all the time, like almost daily, is banana and 2 giant handfuls of spinach crammed into the Vitamix and like packed in there so that I can fit the mango in, and then frozen mango. My favorite way to have that smoothie is with fresh mango in the summer. It's so good with fresh mango and frozen banana, but right now I can only get frozen mango, so it's fresh banana, frozen mango, but it's still delicious. And sometimes I put dates in it too for that extra liver boost. So that's my favorite smoothie, and I've been having it constantly. And yeah, so ideally I would do some version of that and then only have the steamed sweet potatoes in the evening. But what has been happening, because it's all I want is sweet potatoes, is that I've just been eating sweet potatoes all day. And then I do end up having like the smoothie at some point in the afternoon or evening, usually in the evening, because I'm like, oh gosh, I didn't get my greens in, and then I try to cram them in that way. And it's not ideal, but it's still pretty freaking good, so I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm just saying, like, I do have an ideal that I strive for, and sometimes I hit it, and sometimes I don't. And right now, sweet potatoes are very comforting to me, and they're helping me a lot, and so I'm just eating sweet potatoes. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going with it. so back to the fat experiment. So, yeah. So I have been feeling better since I started back to no fat again. And it's, the thing is it's not hard for me to do no fat. And it's because I've done it before and I did it for such a long time, like, it's really not hard. And my body's telling me, like, no, I like that better, so do that. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And the gurgliness is way down. It's definitely improving. It's taking a little bit of time, and that's okay. I get it. You know, I still got all this adrenaline going. I still got a lot of stress. And so it takes time. It takes time. But I'm not worried about it. I know it's going to go back to what it was before, and yeah, that has improved. And my skin is healing. I know that right now, with this camera in particular, geez, man. I know it looks bad, but it's coming from being, like, really bad. So it's improving, trust me. I also know that if again, my goal is to get back to, like, super high raw, like, if any cooked at all. And I'll get there, but maybe right now isn't the time, and I just have to deal with my skin how it is. It's not fun, but that's what it is. It's just like that. So, yeah, that high fat is just, my body can't do it yet. I have too much going on otherwise, and there's still healing to be done, and it's like my body's doing everything it can to just keep me functional, and it's working. It is. I still am seeing healing gains. I really am. I'm still seeing healing gains. Like, you know how I talked about the plantar fasciitis? Like, that hasn't really shown its face. Its foot. That hasn't really shown itself lately. That's been gone. And I'm trying to feel around in my body and see if there's something else. What else? I can't remember. My short-term memory is still out to lunch. Yeah, I can't remember if there's something else that I was really experiencing that, I feel like there was. I feel like there were like 2 or 3 things, and I'm just blanking on what, but I know the plantar fasciitis was a thing, and it hasn't really been a thing, and that's great. But because of all the adrenaline and stress, I have felt a little bit more viral, and I have felt the strep symptoms. So I felt a little bit more shingles flare a little bit in my body, but I also stopped taking the ALA. I ran out, and I just haven't bothered to reorder, and I don't know why I did that, but I think because I'm just spending so much on supplements anyway, because I have upped my supplements being in here because of the extra stress, so it's a lot. So I was just like, let's see if I can get away with not taking the ALA. And I think it's no. I think I need to be taking it to keep the shingles down, especially now. Like, I just need to really be using all of the arsenal that is available to me as far as, you know, pathogen fighting arsenal. So, yes, the foods and the supplements are extra important. So I would call my Great Fat Experiment a fail, but not in the way that it was like I failed or anything like that, or my body failed. It's just that it was also an incredible learning experience, because it let me know, like, probably I can tolerate a little bit of avocado here and there, and that's okay. However, because I know I'm a slippery slope person, it's just better for me to not have fat at all, because if I have a little bit of avocado, I then give myself permission to have things that aren't as conducive to my body's healing as I would like, and that my body doesn't tolerate very well. Like cashews and tahini. I don't know how avocado leads to that, but it's a fat, and so it just makes me want more fat. And also, remember, the medical medium teaches us that fat takes adrenaline to digest. It releases adrenaline in the digestion process, so I don't need more adrenaline. I have so much adrenaline. Being in this RV is so much adrenaline. It's so stressful. So I'm good. I'm good on adrenaline. And, I will say, just symptom-wise, and this was not because of the fat. And the fat does cause, like, a little more sluggishness. I have less energy and stuff like that. And it kind of makes it easier to spiral out, I think. Just because my liver's working so hard, and I think my liver gets a little stressed out. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, Medical Medium has done a radio show and talks about in the Liver Rescue book, The Emotional Liver, and I will link it below. It is an incredible show if you have not heard it. I just re-listened to it recently, and it is such an amazing show about what our livers go through and the fact that our livers have emotions themselves and are storing our old emotions. And sometimes when the liver feels safe to release those emotions, they will come up for no reason and we will feel them, and it's intense. Yeah, that was incredibly informative, and realizing that my liver is going through it, so then I can spiral out more easily, and I get triggered more easily. And just even with all this adrenaline going, I get triggered more easily. And I've been noticing that, and I'm like, okay, I really have to work on my tools to self-soothe and stuff like that. And I do, or, reach out to the people who can help me and stuff like that. And I definitely have been doing that. But anyway, that's a little bit of a digression, but not really. It's relevant. It's relevant because it's part of the fat experiment. It's part of what I realized about myself. So it was good, because it was good to see and feel and experience. And also, I just think it's really important to remember that if you do something and you're like, oh, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that, or whatever. It's like, no. Don't look at it that way. Don't use it to self-flagellate. Don't beat yourself up with it. What you want to do is go, okay, what did I learn from this? What was the lesson here? What did I get out of this? And what I got out of it is that, hey, I can do it a little bit, but I know I'm a slippery slope person. So a little bit leads to a lot, and it leads to too much, and then because it does have a cumulative effect on my body that is detrimental, and I don't want to do that. I don't like the way that feels. I don't like what happens. Because my skin gives such an immediate response, that's actually helpful in a way, because it really lets me know, like, yeah, this is not for me, because I can sort of reason around it, because it's not taking me out of commission. I'm still functional. And sometimes when you're still functional, it's really easy to just be like, oh, this is not a big deal. So yeah, and that kind of self-assessment, like, it's important. So it's a good lesson. It's a good lesson. So I don't regret that I did it. I'm not mad at myself or anything like that. I see the opportunity in it. I'm like, this is another growth opportunity. I get to grow. I get to learn. I get to really see real world results and what happens in my body, and really tune into myself too. And so all of that is a huge gift, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad to go back to no fat, because that is really what works best for me, is to just be very specific and strict about, this leads to a slippery slope. I'm not going down that again. Yeah, I'm going to stay on the path of healing, because that's really important for me. I'm not perfect. Who is? I'm doing my best, and I'm learning from it. So I hope that some part of my journey can help you in some part of your journey, and I hope that something I say reaches you in some way that just helps in any way, even if just it's laughing at me because of the way I natter on. Like, I don't care. Laughter is really good for healing. So whatever it is. Okay, I am going to go make my celery juice now, because it's time. And I will see you in the next video, and thank you so much for watching. I love you. Stay curious, my healers and health seekers. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, please. It does help the channel, because now I am possibly could be monetized. I don't know. We'll see. It's under review, but I have 1,000 subscribers, which is the minimum you need to be monetized. But I'll make another video about that. Anyway, thank you for watching. You can subscribe to my channel right there if you haven't yet. Please do yourself a favor, and me, and hit the notification button, because I'm so inconsistent in my upload schedule right now because of my circumstances and inability to make consistent videos. So if you hit the notification button, then you'll know when I upload. Yeah, so that's why. I will see you next time, and I love you, and I love you, and I love you. Bye.